A powerful left one and a surgical right one. A devastating 1-2 punch. In 16 innings combined, no runs, 6 hits, 25 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 runner in scoring position. Over their last 8 starts combined, Clayton Kershaw, Zach Greinke, they've combined to strike out 72, walk 4 with an ERA of .29. Zach Greinke is on a potentially historic run with a major league low 1.30. He's now within 15 2/3 innings of breaking Orel Hershiser's all-time consecutive shutout string. Tonight, a change of venue as the first-place Dodgers invade Atlanta. It's a beautiful night for baseball, and live from Turner Field in Atlanta, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Atlanta Braves in the first of a 3-game series. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner, Orel Hershiser, and Nomar Garciaparra. We open with some good news and some bad news. Good news is Zach Greinke, Clayton Kershaw, co-players of the week in the National League. The bad news is A.J. Ellis has been placed on the disabled list. Austin Barnes will be catching tonight for Brandon Beachy.
And Brandon Beachy coming back for his second outing since the rehab of 2 Tommy John surgeries, trying to establish himself as someone that can pitch in this rotation and someone they can count on. Brandon's most effective pitches right now are his curveball and his changeup, but if he's going to be effective over the rest of the season, it's going to be about fastball command. He throws the ball straight over the top. He doesn't have a whole lot of movement, but he can throw darts at times and really run off a good outing. He's got a new battery mate back there tonight, though.
He does, but it's somebody he's familiar with because he did throw to Austin Barnes down there in AAA when he was rehabbing. And why is that? Well, you took a blow. The Dodgers took a blow to 2 of their catchers. It started off with Yasmani Grandal taking this one right off the mask, and he knew right away when he called the trainers over that something wasn't right. He thought he broke his jaw, but the good news is the x-rays were negative and he didn't break his jaw. Unfortunately, though, A.J. Ellis, who comes into the game and fills in for Yasmani Grandal on this play right here. He's not sure exactly when it happened on this play, but he felt his knee get progressively worse. Hopefully, he'll heal soon.
So A.J. Ellis on the DL. Beachy, who spent the last couple of years on the disabled list, back to make his second start for the Dodgers when we come back. night in Washington as the Dodgers and the Braves get ready for the first of three. And our closed captioning is brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel, der Fun since '61. Dodgers begin play today, 3.5 in front of the Giants, 9.5 in front of San Diego and Arizona. Colorado 12.5 games off the base. The Honda starting lineup: Jock Peterson, Howie Kendrick, and Adrian Gonzalez. Justin Turner in the cleanup spot. Ethier is in left. Puig in right. Jimmy Rollins at short. Austin Barnes, who is hitting .304 at AAA, batting 8th. And Brandon Beachy pitching and batting 9th against the 22-year-old right-hander Matt Wisler.
Well, the first time the Dodgers have seen Matt Wisler, comes at you with a fastball that hovers from the low to mid-90s. He's got a slider, curveball, and changeup. And the book on him is it's all about his command, that he has very good command of his fastball, and that his breaking ball is very effective when down in the zone.
And the first pitch to Peterson is low and inside. 1 ball and no strikes. Jock at .230 with 20 home runs and 40 runs batted in. But he has not hit for a lot of power over his last 39. Wisler misses outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Matt Wisler, 6'3", 200. Came over with Cameron Maben in the deal that sent Kimbrel and Melvin Upton Jr. out to San Diego. Well hit to right field, but right there is Nick Markakis. So we're underway on this humid Monday night. So it's Markakis in right, Cameron Maben, who we just spoke of, in center, Yuri Perez is in left, and the Dodgers' old friend Juan Uribe at third base, Andrelton Simmons at short. That's a terrific defensive side of the left side of the infield. Jace Peterson and Joey Turtlovich is at first base. A.J. Przinsky is behind the plate. And here's Howie Kendrick. Kendrick at .296, 7 home runs and 37 runs batted in. And he is quickly retired by Andrelton Simmons.
Wisler right now gets a fly ball, gets a ground ball, gets his nerves under control. I don't care if it's your first start or if it's your 5th, 6th, 7th start. There are nerves early in your career that every time you take the mound, you've got to get the butterflies flying in formation.
He's needed 5 pitches to get them in formation. 2 out, nobody on, and Adrian Gonzalez coming up. Adrian at .295. His next hit will be his 100th of the season. As we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Zach Greinke and Clayton Kershaw named the co-players of the week. The runner-up was this fella. 20 home runs, 58 runs batted in. Justin Turner on deck. Dodgers took 2 of 3 from the Braves back in May at Dodger Stadium. Last year, there were 6-1, so the Dodgers have beaten the Braves 8 of their last 10 since the beginning of last season.
The Braves really in a rebuilding mode, trading away Craig Kimbrel. That's how Wisler got here. Cameron Maben got here. Looking to build a team for the new stadium.
Into left center. Maben cruises and makes an easy play. Nothing across for the Dodgers. So Brandon Beachy, a homecoming, his second start with the Dodgers when we come back. his contract extended another year with an option beyond that, and has put this Honda lineup together tonight. It'll be Jace Peterson leading it off, to be followed by Cameron Maybin, Nick Markakis, A.J. Brzezinski, and Juan Uribe. Terdozlovich, Perez, Simmons, and Whistler. The bat against Brandon Beachy.
Brandon Beachy looking to take the first outing where he went 4 innings, gave up 3 runs, and only one of those innings did he give up the runs, but he's looking to use that as a foundation and to feel his rhythm and his mechanics here today. And as he said in his post-game quotes, he could feel what he was doing wrong, he just couldn't make the adjustment.
Delivers a fastball high and away. 1 ball and no strikes to Jace Peterson. Peterson at 250. And Beachy high again, 2-0. Maybin and Markakis to follow.
Brandon, his first outing, first batter, fell behind 3-0, but ended up giving up a 3-1 base hit on a high fastball.
And he falls behind 3 balls and no strikes.
It's a lot different pitching in a triple-decker stadium than pitching down in rehab in Rancho Cucamonga and Okie City.
There's a strike. Beachy's first appearance with the Dodgers back on the 11th, Saturday night. 78 pitches in 4 innings, 3 runs and 5 hits. Diving stab by Kendrick and dug out by Adrian Gonzalez. Terrific play turned in by Howie Kendrick.
Well, in his last outing, too, he had some fine defensive plays behind him. And here's Howie Kendrick on the very first batter. Makes a great diving play. Comes up throwing from his knees. I mean, God, we can look at that over and over again because it was so pretty. Worthy of a Carl's Cam replay.
The thing about Adrian Gonzalez, he makes that scoop look routine.
Yeah, I don't even bring him up anymore. I'm tired of him just scooping it up that easy, you know.
And Howie Kendrick. The Dodgers, of course, have the stingiest defense in baseball this year. They've committed but 38 errors, have the highest fielding percentage, and Kendrick turns in a sparkler. Cameron Maybin at 285, 8 home runs and 44 runs batted in. This is the kind of year that a lot of folks were expecting out of Cameron Maybin. At long last, it appears as if he has found himself in Atlanta. Freddie Gonzalez has had his contract extended. Again, as Oral mentioned, this is a team that is in the process of rebuilding, not necessarily even for this year or next. They're looking ahead to the new stadium in 2017. Now the 1-2 drilled into center field for a base hit. So the play by Kendrick, that ball was solidly hit, as was the Maybin single to center.
It's a little lazy breaking ball in the outer half. Just a slider. You see how it wants to bite, but it just stays up above the knees. Not a lot of break, and just a good piece of hitting. Kevin Seitzer, the hitting coach on the Atlanta Braves, probably should get a lot of credit for Cameron Maybin's new approach and success.
Nick Markakis stepping in. He has been on base this year 146 times. Only 3 hitters have more. First pitch, Maybin steals second. For Cameron Maybin, his 16th stolen base. It didn't take long for the Braves to test the arm of rookie Austin Barnes.
Cameron just gets a tremendous jump right there. I mean, this really wasn't off Austin Barnes. That was definitely off the pitcher Beachy. And when you get a jump like that, Austin Barnes really had no chance. Even if a good throw, I don't think gets Maybin.
If you're just joining us, A.J. Ellis, prior to the game, placed on the disabled list. Injured his knee late in the game yesterday, the game in which he did not even start. That was the game in which Yasmani Grandal took one off the mask. And then Ellis came in and on a little pop foul off to the left made a diving stab, and at some point In that process, he injured his knee. It started to stiffen up on the plane. Didn't get any better this morning. Reported for work, got treatment. They looked at it and said, we're going to sit you down. And there he is over the next couple of weeks. It's the right knee, and they describe it as inflammation, which could mean pretty much anything. Into center field. Peterson's got a long way to go, and it is gone. Well, Brandon Beachy's getting cuffed around here in the first inning. For Nick Markakis, it's his first home run of the year, and the Braves take a 2-0 lead.
In Beachy's first outing, his most successful pitches were his changeup and his curveball. This is a changeup that he just leaves up. Markakis is on it the whole way. There's not enough speed differential to get him too far out in front, and there's enough barrel and power to hit it over the center field wall.
It's mentioned that Markakis, only Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, and Andrew McCutchen had been on base more often than Markakis this year, and yet for Markakis, but his first home run. So the Braves strike early, and all three batters have squared up on the pitches thrown by Beachy. The ageless wonder, A.J. Pierzynski. Up the middle. Rollins will have time to throw out Pierzynski. Defensively for the Dodgers tonight behind Beachy, Ethier, Jock Peterson, Yasiel Puig in the outfield. Turner and Rollins and Kendrick and Gonzalez in the infield, and Austin Barnes is behind the plate. So Barnes called up today. And here he is. Of course, in the case of Grandal, he's got a sore jaw. Taking one off the mask, and here's Juan Uribe.
And Grandal was really nervous. We saw it yesterday. Right when he got hit, he didn't waste any time and called the trainers right over.
The 1-0.
And he was scared, and he thought maybe he had broken his jaw, and he really just couldn't move. And even Zach Greinke was concerned. It looked like his jaw just froze right there, but all tests show that it wasn't broken, which is good sign, and hopefully he feels better soon.
So here's Uribe. Grandal is able to smile, which was not necessarily the case 24 hours ago. 2-2 to Uribe. On the year 267, he's done a little bit better since coming to the Braves. 278. So Beachy not off to the start that he had envisioned. And the 2-2. Uribe, one of the most popular players in a Dodger clubhouse in years. So it was tough to send him away. And on the night of the bobblehead night for him, he wasn't invited to the party. But they were busy calling him from the clubhouse. Here's a 2-2.
Well, I'm sure he was invited. Whether
he had to work.
Yeah, whether the Braves were going to let him come or not is a different story.
He had a good excuse.
Yeah, I think.
I'm sure they sent him a case.
Here's a 3-2. And Beachy walks him.
Well, the thing you notice about Brandon Beachy here in the first inning is that the first four hitters, and including that Juan Uribe walk, he was missing up. So he's either missing up for a ball or he's missing up in the strike zone. Threw a couple quality pitches to Juan to get ahead of him, but just wasn't able to continue to execute down by the knees.
Of course, he's coming off 2 Tommy John surgeries. Does any of that translate into the pitches that are up and difficulty finding the plate?
Usually when you're up like that, he looks like he's in line. His mechanics and his balance look good. He's got a little peekaboo with his head, kind of like it's not, he hasn't finished the pitch yet, and he's wanting to look for results, so that'll pull you out of your mechanics a little bit. And then
you just always kind of want to throw the ball almost before your front foot hits. You're just a little anticipation for, I just want to see what's going to happen. You're so glad to be back.
Into center, and Peterson tracks it down. That was a rugged first inning for Brandon Beachy. Braves come up with a couple of runs and a couple of hits. They lead 2-0 with Turner, Ethier, and Puig ready to hit in the second. And you just might see yourself at an upcoming telecast brought to you by T-Mobile. It's a hot night in Hotlanta. And Nick Markakis, his first home run of the year. He hit 14 last season. And the 2-run shot off Beachy. As we go to the top of the second, Justin Turner, Andre Ethier, and Yasiel Puig to bat. So Matt Whistler in spring was in the employ of the San Diego Padres, and then he came to Atlanta in that Kimbrel deal. Turner at .312 with 11 home runs and 40 runs batted in. Out of Ohio State is Whistler. Ball with some movement down and in.
Exactly, Charlie. And John Hart, the general manager for the Atlanta Braves, who constructed the Cleveland Indians as they went into their new stadium.
There's Turner with a leadoff hit here in the second inning.
Also was the GM in Texas for the Rangers, and now here getting this team ready for the new stadium in 2017. He likes big arms with movement and a guy who can spin the ball, and that's what I'm seeing with Whistler so far. That he saw a lot of potential in this young man, and it's an excellent pitcher's body. Nice wide shoulders and the narrow waist.
Ethier stepping in, and he was hot before the break and had a good weekend in Washington. .287 on the season with 10 home runs. Strike on the outside corner.
Some people might be asking why broad shoulders and narrow hips is a good pitcher's body. Well, the broad shoulders give you really big breaks to stop the arm after you get it moving really fast. And the narrow hips give you a chance to have fast hips. So the fast hips give you better leg drive and protect your arm also. So you can throw the ball harder with less effort, with the effort coming from the lower half.
No balls and 2 strikes to Andre Ethier.
You don't see a lot of squared-bodied pitchers that last a long time. The hips and the shoulders are about the same.
And then there's
width.
Bartolo Colon.
Well, there's one there, but there might be something else going on there.
Square, or is that, it's a different type of shape than just.
It's like an egg.
Maybe a lot of things. Square, ain't it?
I said, yeah, not a lot of pitchers.
There are a few.
A few.
I'm actually thinking back. We have our lefty Libertor. I mean, that's just solid. He's just like
built like a fullback.
Yeah, even his neck, everything's just square, just strong. But that he delivers differently because of that type of body.
He uses a lot of arm.
Yeah.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Turner's at first. We're in the second inning.
I don't think Adam will be in many dance contests. Now Pedro Martinez, you know, wide shoulders. Oh yeah, for a small, shorter guy, really wide shoulders.
And really long fingers.
Yes. Oh yes, and they bent backwards all the way to the tip. It was almost like he was double jointed at the end of his fingers.
Talking about Pedro and his fingers. Here we are in Atlanta on a Monday night. And got the Hall of Fame coming up this weekend. He would get blisters underneath his fingernails, which I had never seen before because of the length of his fingers and the torque when he released the ball. Now the 2-2. Into left center. There's Maben. And we were visiting with Tom Glavine tonight before the game. He's heading to Cooperstown to see his old buddy John Smoltz have the weekend of his life. And of course,
the big three will probably be there. I'm sure Greg Maddux will be there also.
Mad Dog, in fact, will be there. Boy, what a threesome. Oh.
Be a very interesting dinner. Listen to those three talk pitching.
Yasiel Puig now at 272, 4 home runs and 18 runs batted in. First pitch flies to right.
Well, the last two batters, Yasiel and Andre Ethier, just missing those pitches. Andre just getting underneath it just a little bit with that fly out the center, and Yasiel on that breaking ball. His timing was there on that breaking ball, with the bat just getting underneath it a little bit.
And Andre's hits in Washington were off-speed pitches that were down low, and he was able to stay on it. And that ball that he flew out on was a higher fastball he just didn't get on top of. I'm sure he'll try and make that adjustment.
Jimmy Rollins stepping in. Rollins at 206, 8 home runs, 29 runs batted in. And Whistler deals. Rollins takes a strike. In the bottom half of the second inning, Alana will be talking with A.J. Ellis. Ellis injured his knee yesterday, placed on the disabled list just an hour or two before the game. And we will get the latest from that fella there. So Austin Barnes is the Dodger catcher tonight. Rollins with a fly ball into right field. Markakis is there, and that's that. The Dodgers squander a leadoff hit. When we come back, Alana and A.J. Ellis. 2-0 Atlanta as we go to the bottom of the second.
Inning, joined now by A.J. Ellis, who unfortunately was placed on the 15-day disabled list earlier today before the game with some right knee inflammation. And A.J., sorry to hear about being put on the shelf. When exactly did it happen, and what were your symptoms?
We're not 100% sure exactly, but it seems to be yesterday trying to track down the bunt. Right when I came to the game after Yasmani exited, and kind of landed funny, kind of jarred my knee a little bit right there, and I was able to finish the game. Adrenaline kind of helped take over, and but after the game, just being on the plane, going back, sleeping on it all night, just really stiffened and got really swollen overnight. Made a good decision to get with Stan Conti this morning and get an MRI, and thankfully find out everything's okay structurally, no long-term damage, but hopefully we can do something in the short term. What is your best case scenario, or your best guess, I should say, as to when you will physically be ready? I know you're on the 15-day deal, but physically ready to be able to come back and catch? Because Donnie said you just basically could do everything but get in that deep crouch. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that I can be back playing in a regular sense in 3, 5, 7 days. But the way the rules are, it's going to take 15 days, and I'm very confident talking to the training staff that it's just going to be a 15-day stay. And so by the time we get to Philadelphia in a couple weeks, I'll be back on the field. A couple of procedures on your knees so far. Obviously, this is not going to require a procedure, but what was your level of concern when you felt that stiffness and the right knee inflammation? Yeah, I've had 2 scopes in the left knee over the past few years. Definitely getting, as a catcher, especially when you find something around the knee area, you're going to get a little nervous. The way it felt last night, especially waking up in the middle of the night with a sharp pain, you kind of concerned when you're nervous, but I was really excited and happy to see that the MRI cleared out anything major. Question about that. The timing of it a little tricky, obviously, with the Yasmani Grandal getting hit with that foul ball off the mask. Just your thought when you saw your fellow catcher go through that. I mean, he looked very scared very quickly. Yeah, absolutely. That was, I think I said it yesterday. You get thrust into the game as the backup catcher, and you spend the rest of the game, trying to mentally focus on what's going on, but you're also, really worried about your teammate and your partner, the guy you pair with behind the plate as a fellow catcher. So was constantly checking on him in between innings with the training staff, making sure everything was okay, and so relieved and so thankful, and we're so fortunate that he's going to be okay and be back on the field very shortly. Such a huge part of our team, offensively and defensively, and we're not a first base club without Yasmani. And without you as well, and I know that you're certainly constantly helping Yasmani with this pitching staff, but not only that, you have to help a young catcher in Austin Barnes. What are you noticing from him tonight? Well, it's early, just trying to get in the rhythm, and just got to talk to him before the game about taking ownership of being back there. We overload him with a lot of information about how to attack these Braves hitters, but we want him to feel the rhythm of calling a game back there and make good choices, but pay attention and do what he's done in Oklahoma City, and that's lead pitching staffs, lead guys through games, pay attention to how the guys are swings and how they're approaching Beachy tonight, and do whatever he can to call a W. AJ, we know you didn't have to take the time to do this. We're sorry you're on the shelf for a little bit, but a speedy recovery. Thanks so much. That's my pleasure. Thank you. All right, guys, back upstairs.
So the big story is nothing structural. The ligaments are fine. The knee is essentially okay, except for the fact that it hurts. In about 5 to 7 days, Ellis should be good to go. Of course, he's on the 15-day DL. Simmons with a 1-out single to left. It could have been a whole lot worse.
Sure could have been a whole lot worse, especially with the knee history on the other side of the body. But AJ's a tough customer, and he's a smart customer, too. So to get right with the training staff, to get into the MRI, don't debate it, to not try and hide anything, and helps the ball club in many ways when he is honest about how his body's feeling.
Well, just watching him get up from the dugout to go over to where he was talking with Alana, he was limping a bit.
Yeah. And, obviously there's just 2 of them. You have your starter and your backup catcher, and you have to make that decision quickly. That's what's tough for the training staff when you're thinking, okay, to go on the deal, it's 15 days, and you're thinking, okay, he might be able to play 3 days, 5 days. You're trying to figure out that balance, whether, okay, do we keep him off the DL or do we have to put him right on? And obviously with Yasmani getting injured as well, it's like we're putting him on, call somebody up.
It's the only position you cannot wait for a guy for 3-4 days.
Right.
Outfielder you can, infielder you can, a bullpen piece even with a little irritation in the elbow or something where they got it inflamed. They put him on anti-inflammatory. They say, you know what, let's avoid him for 3 days in the bullpen. They don't tell the opposition, they don't tell the media, but they're avoiding him to let something calm down. The guy never has to go on the DL.
So Matt Whistler, who is 1 for 9, has a sacrifice this year. After Yuri Perez bounced to second, Simmons with the single into left. 0-2. As we were coming to work today and had the lineup emailed to us, and there's Austin Barnes batting 8th. Going, okay, well, the immediate thought was that Yasmani Grandal
exactly
was the one who was going down. It was somewhat of a surprise to find out that Ellis would be placed on the DL. And Whistler takes outside. And as we arrived inside the clubhouse, in the training room was Ellis getting worked on, and Don Mattingly was in there as well. That was the first time we figured, okay, there's something going on here.
Usually the manager gets the first report from the training staff, and then he wants to hear it from the horse's mouth. A little bit of a chance right there that Adrian's thinking about right now, that I think I could have had a double play if I played that one a little differently.
Well, it's a little bit different when you're charging. When Adrian charges that and the ball's going over his head. If it's a pop-up, it's in front of you. In front of you is when you let it drop. But watch how Adrian, he charges it, and see, it's going over his head right there, as compared to if it was just in front of him in a pop-up, is where you might have a better idea. Oh, I can stop, slow down, let it drop, and look for that double play.
Look for the trap play.
So here's Jace Peterson, who was robbed of a base hit by Howie Kendrick in his first at-bat, trying to bunt for a hit, and fouls it off. A Nick Markakis first inning home run, a 2-run shot, is the difference in the game. Beachy had a rugged first inning, 23 pitches, only 13 for strikes plus the home run. And young Matt Whistler has given up just 1 hit through the first 2 innings.
Brandon Beachy very comfortable on this mound here in Atlanta. Of course, with his original organization, the Atlanta Braves. It's on this mound quite often.
Beachy made 46 starts with the Braves, was 14-11 and an ERA at 3.25, but then 2 Tommy John surgeries. Two out. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jace Peterson.
Brandon Beachy risk, as far as signing somebody who's had the surgeries and you're going to rehab him and you're going to bring him back, is really an outstanding risk. Just being able to, guys can come back from the surgery, and you know he's already been an established solid big league pitcher.
70 miles an hour, that couldn't have gotten pulled over on the interstate.
That's the pitch where he can drop the hitter beyond a 10-mile-an-hour differential. 90, 91, 92 fastball. The slider will be down around 83, 84. But the changeup's right around 81, 82. But the slow curveball is where he can really change the eye line and the speed differential with the hitter.
And with Brandon, I mean, I don't think or the Dodgers were expecting, oh, he's just going to be lights out right when he comes back. And there's going to be an adjustment, but I think the key is he improving with every outing? Is he holding his own out there?
Now he's trying to hold on to Simmons there at first base. Won't have to worry about him anymore this inning. No runs and 1 base hit. Austin Barnes will lead it off. Beachy and then Peterson the bat for the Dodgers as we go to the 3rd. on Wednesday, July 29th, and receive a Yasiel Puig bobblehead presented by Jack in the Box. The A's are in town. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. Matt Wisler coming into this game, and this is his 6th big league start, has been averaging just a shade over 15 pitches per inning. He has thrown a total of 20 through the first 2. Missing high and outside, 1 ball and no strikes. What is it about some pitchers who can induce hitters to hit quickly in the count? Whistler being one of them. And on the second pitch, Barnes pops it to short center. That's Jace Peterson.
Well, the obvious answer, first and foremost, is throwing strikes.
Yeah.
But I think secondly is having stuff that makes people hit it weakly into fair territory instead of swinging and missing or fouling the ball off. I mean, foul balls can be a killer for a pitcher's pitch count.
And you get that when you get those guys who throw like 95, 96, the high velocity guys, they have that, they get fouled off. More like we consider those power pitchers. And they'll get foul balls, so they're going, it gets their pitch count up.
Kershaw threw 101 pitches in 8 innings on Saturday.
When we look at early on the Dodgers, I mean, they had made some outs, obviously, swinging early, but some of them have been hard outs. Some of them have been hit hard, maybe just off just a little bit. Difference, you know, we say a game of centimeters, a centimeter here. It's a difference. You know, we saw Yasiel fly out. He just missed that one, a little bit off. Andre Ethier just didn't get on top enough, just a little bit. Centimeter here or 2, those different results on those pitches.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Brandon Beachy.
Well, hard contact in fair territory is going to make your pitch count go up because you're not going to be effective. Weak contact in fair territory is going to make your pitch count go down because the ball's in play and you get outs. Then foul ball back or left or right is going to make your pitch count go up, and then swing and miss is going to make it go down. And Clayton Kershaw is a perfect example of somebody who almost throws so many swing and miss pitches.
Line drive to left field. Yuri Perez, 2 out.
And Zach Greinke now, with the development of his changeup and his slider, with how accurate they've been and how deep and great movement, has turned into more swing and miss. But Zach was really the weak contact guy before. His strikeouts have really gone up.
Kershaw had 30 swings and misses in his outing on Saturday. And Greinke, well, hasn't been anybody better in the last 6 weeks. And the 2 of them, the co-players of the week in the National League. Jock Peterson flied to right in his first at-bat. Here's a strike, and it's 0-1. Peterson now at 229. Leads the league 112 times he's been struck out. 1-1. Howie Kendrick on deck. Two balls and a strike. Whistler now 31 innings into his big league career. He has struck out 21 and he has walked 9. 3-1. First of a 3-game series. Tomorrow night, Wednesday afternoon, then up to New York to shortstop. And Andrelton Simmons, about as good as it gets at short. Throws out Peterson, and that's that. Nothing across for the Dodgers. We go to the bottom of the third. Maben, Markakis, and Brzezinski coming up. Flex Alert. This summer, the power is in your hands. Visit flexalert.org. So, Brandon Beachy, down 2 as we go to the bottom of the third. Will be facing Cameron Maybin, Nick Markakis, and A.J. Pierzynski. Maybin singled to center in his first at-bat. Well, he and tonight's starting pitcher, Matt Whistler, began the year with the Padres but weren't there long. They came over in the deal that sent Kimbrel and Melvin Upton Jr. to the Pods. So San Diego goes through the big makeover in the offseason. Now as the trade deadline is approaching, it sounds like they're going to go through another makeover. Here's the 1-0. 2 balls and no strikes to Maybin. Padres and the Diamondbacks each 9.5 behind the Dodgers, as the Western Division is essentially a 2-team race, which is what most folks figured. Dodgers lead over the Giants 3.5. San Diego and Arizona 9.5 back, and Colorado in last place 12.5 games off the pace. 3-0 to Maybin. 3-1. Beachy last night, tonight, tomorrow night gets to sleep in his own bed. And after falling behind 3-0, it's full to Cameron Maybin. Beginning the bottom of the third. Peterson, and it is Jock Peterson tracking it down. A near collision with Puig, and another terrific play in center field by Jock Peterson.
Looked like Jock Peterson really caught his breath after that play was done, because he felt Yasiel Puig going after it and just missed him for that collision. But both ranging far, both running hard. Jock Peterson coming up with it. Brandon Beachy enjoying it as we look at the Morongo slow-mo cam.
That play was fraught with disaster.
Just Jock. Right now, I think he's still going. I think his life flashed before his eyes, like, whoa, that was Yasiel.
Here's Markakis, who homered to center in his first at-bat. It was first home run of the season. Boy, you see a play like that develop, and you see that each guy going in that direction, and one is bigger than the other.
And both at full speed. Oh.
Here's the Markakis home run. His first home run of the season. And that's the difference in the game. One home run, now 31 runs batted in. And Markakis down on strikes. For Beachy, his second strikeout.
That ball was wide and maybe low. Yeah, a little of both. But I guess they're remembering the old Atlanta strike zone right now.
When you had Maddox and Glavine. Here's A.J. Pierzynski.
They'd sit out in either batter's box and get strikes.
What's funny is that, and we saw John Hirschbeck get rid of it right before the game, but where the catchers, they call it a catcher's box. I think they developed that because of the Braves and the strike zone they used to get.
Well, it's also before the days of the K zone and all of that. And so umpires had, well, they're individual strike zones. And you guys had to adjust.
Oh, boy, did we.
You had Javi Lopez sitting up wide for 4 starters, and then you had Eddie Perez sitting up he was Greg Maddox's personal catcher, and he's the bullpen coach still for the Braves.
To this day. There's
Eddie.
Oh, and they knew it, too. I mean, they just would okay, I can keep going an inch farther out, farther.
And they would laugh.
They knew it.
Into center, and Peterson is there. A million miles from Puig. Nothing across. Will go to the fourth. Kendrick, Gonzalez, and Turner coming up. The Dodgers down 2-0. Sunday, August the 2nd, when the Dodgers face the Angels and receive your very own Dodgers cap presented by Security Benefit. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. So the Dodgers with Kendrick, Gonzalez, and Turner coming up here in the fourth inning. And 22-year-old Matt Whistler, the Ohio State Buckeye, has allowed one base runner. It was a leadoff single to Turner in the second inning. Outside of that, he has thrown but 32 pitches in the first 3 innings. No more than 12 pitches in any of the first 3. 9 in the first, 11 in the second, 12 in the third. And he is averaging in his young career barely 15 pitches per inning, so he's even ahead of that pace. 2-0 to Kendrick.
Well, that's one thing they really liked about Whistler is the fact that he attacks the zone. He is not afraid to go out there. Confidence in his ability, and because of that, we talked about last inning about why he gets so many balls in play early in the count, because he's throwing those strikes.
And he doesn't strike out a lot of guys, doesn't walk a lot of guys. Hit it if he can, and for the most part in his young career they haven't. 2-1 to Kendrick, beginning the fourth. Now he misses outside 3-1.
For a young pitcher, he's got a lot of poise out there. The movements he makes on the mound all seem to have a purpose, and keeps real good rhythm in his delivery. A lot of young guys, the nerves get to them and it gets to their rhythm and gets into their delivery. He seems to be mad at the right things when he does something wrong, and he seems to be able to maintain and get back into focus no matter what result happens.
This is the first full count. Into center field. Drifting on back is Maben. No, you're talking about a centimeter here, centimeter there, and for the most part, he has kept them off balance by just that much.
He has. He's done an excellent job. And even I was actually noticed the pitch before that, the one he fly out. I mean, that was a good pitch. It was on the corner. I'm noticing it. Nothing's really just down the middle. I mean, he is hitting those corners, and like we said, there is some movement. It's not straight, so that slight movement at the end of his fastball and hitting those corners is why you're not really getting the barrel of the bat from the hitters.
Gonzalez flied to center in his first at bat, drills one to right, but right at Nick Markakis. 2 out. Justin Turner coming up. So when the Braves sent Kimbrel to San Diego, and they were also happy to get rid of Melvin Upton's contract and send him out there, baseball fans, I think, around the country saying, what was John Hart doing? Well, he got this young pitcher, Whistler. He appears to have found lightning in a bottle, and Cameron Maybin having a really solid year. So the Braves were able to unload 2 big contracts. They knew they didn't need a big-time closer and a team that was in the process of rebuilding. And Justin Turner can't be held by Yuri Perez. Turner's the only guy who's really squared it up against Whistler. A 2-out single.
You're so right on the strategy of trading Kimbrel to get pieces that'll last a long time compared to the big-time closer, and also when you deal him to San Diego had really made the statement that we're going to try and go for it this year with all the other moves they made. So I'm sure they got an extra piece, a little heavier deal from San Diego than they were being offered elsewhere.
It's Yuri Perez. It goes as a hit. And Ethier is coming up.
See what Andre does in this at bat. Just got under a up and away fastball in his last at bat. Has been swinging the bat really well.
Andre hitting cleanup yesterday, first time this season. Went 3 for 5.
2 really good pass balls away. One that was slightly up, and then now ahead 0-1. He just dots the eye out there on the outside corner. Andre in a hole now is going to have to go into protect mode.
No balls and 2 strikes. 2-0 Atlanta. We're in the top half of the 4th. Up and in on the fist.
Most of the Atlanta pitchers pitch to this ballpark, which is, if you're going to beat me, you're going to have to beat me the opposite way. Opposite field power. It's a big, big outfield. So you're going to see a lot of fastballs away from the home team.
The power alleys here are enormous. 380 in left center, 390 in right center. And there is an enormous amount of real estate here at Turner Field. They'll be leaving year after next. This is a relatively new stadium, built for the Olympics in '96. But the Braves are going to be moving out to the suburbs.
A lot of studying went on with where their fan base was coming from, and they wanted to get a little bit closer to them so they fill some of these empty seats.
That's been an issue for the Braves. Attendance averaging about 25,000 a night. Into short center field, then it's going to drop in for a base hit. So back-to-back singles with 2 out, and Puig coming up. The Dodgers average about 46,000 at home. The Braves about 26,000. Well, there's talk that Georgia State may take over Turner Field and turn it into a football stadium. There's room for something.
Well, before the baseball field, it was the Olympic Stadium for the the Olympics in '96. So it can make adjustments.
And that's what it's all about in sports.
That's it, making adjustments.
When it was the Olympic Stadium, left field was not enclosed.
It was open there.
Yep.
Nothing in one to Puig, 2 on and 2 out in the fourth, 2-0 Atlanta. And the preeminent baseball architect, Janet Marie Smith, who has done such wonderful work at Dodger Stadium, Camden Yards. This was part of her impressive resume. Nothing in 2 to Puig. Flied to right at his first at bat. Dodgers down 2-0.
Oral, you were talking about it, about how they pitch to the field, staying away, and that's really been Yasiel's weakness, that pitch away and that off speed away. See if they stay out there against them.
One and 2.
It's pretty much the pattern is to miss in and pitch away to Yasiel, either with the fastball or the slider. A.J. Pierzynski behind the plate, veterans pitch caller, probably right on the patterns that have been working in the last week or so against.
Foul tip.
Here's where the young man on the mound, if he can control his nerves and really get on top of a breaking ball, I think he's going to see that call from A.J. behind the plate. Yasiel's going to have to either hit the mistake or lay off the good one. He's got him sped up inside. He's got the bat moving off his shoulder for that foul ball.
This is that time, that slider that looks like a strike and then breaks off.
Yep. He missed with the fastball, gave him a chance. Not sure how much confidence they have in his breaking ball. They're not using it an awful lot. He's throwing, coming in about 70% fastballs. You're going to get some cheese. It's something that, of course, we're only around 32 innings or so that he's had at the big league level, that the scouts are going to write down, and people are going to start catching up. He's going to have to find a secondary pitch that he does like to throw.
1 and 2 to Puig. Slowly hit to second. Peterson will throw him out. No runs and a couple of singles after 2 out. Go to the bottom of the fourth. Atlanta 2-0.
for the Atlanta Braves. Of course, Juan Uribe, a familiar face now in the opposition's uniform in that trade on May 27th that made Alberto Callaspo a Los Angeles Dodger. Juan Uribe making it very clear he wanted the opportunity to play every day. That's exactly what he's been doing here as a Brave. You can see the numbers there before and after the trade, an average of about 31 points higher, 7 home runs as compared to 1 long ball before he became a Brave, and the RBIs 15 compared to 6. Obviously, the guys here miss him, but Juan Uribe finding a nice home in Atlanta, guys.
Leading it off here in the bottom half of the fourth. He walked in his first at-bat. Uribe on the year, 267. Did a little bit better here playing every day than he did with the Dodgers.
Those numbers really don't surprise me. I mean, because you knew Juan Uribe. You know he had a slow start, that's for sure. But you could also see it coming around. I mean, in the middle of the trade, or when they stopped playing him, he was in the middle of a 11-game hitting streak.
For one of those reasons that I don't know that anybody has the full answer to, for 2 years, his first 2 years with the Dodgers, he was lost in space. And then he came back to being what Juan Uribe had been and has since continued to be. You figure he's going to hit about 270, 17 home runs thereabouts, and play as good a defense at third base as just about anybody this side of Nolan Arenado.
Well, I remember last year, when he swung the bat so well and going into spring training, and I was talking about his approach, and he said, John Valentin and Mark McGwire were really working on him, reminding him about driving the ball the other way, right center, right field, and it really made a huge difference for him from the production side last year.
8 home runs, 21 runs batted in.
And I thought early on this year, the struggles he had is that he just got away from that approach. And he was slowly finding it when he was on that hitting streak. He was slowly finding it back again, going the other way. So for me, that's why I said those numbers don't surprise me, because I saw that approach coming. And I knew it was a matter of time before he started feeling comfortable again.
How hard is it for those hitters to just learn a completely new style at the big league level?
Well, it's not only hard to learn it, but it's also hard to trust it, because you've done it a different way to get here.
Beachy's third full count. Off to the right. And Gonzalez is going to run out of room.
But I think the most important thing is, and John Valentin and Mark McGwire do a great job, is when they're asking you to make an adjustment or make a change, because we always say the big difference between change and an adjustment is explaining why. It's not just because I said so or this is what's been. It's explaining how you swing and how this adjustment and why we're changing you to be more productive, and it's going to help you.
3-2 one more time. Way up there. Rollins out. Peterson in. This may be the time where it's going to get a little dicey for pop flies.
After that pop fly, it's so funny is you end up, after the one goes up, you're like, oh yeah, let's remind each other that, all right, how about a little help? Let's not forget to point the ball out when it goes up in the air.
Heavenly shades of night are falling. It's twilight time. Joey Terdozlovich and Austin Barnes, 2 out.
What happens on the ball in the air here at night is you have no backlighting here. There's no outfield lights. So when the ball goes up, only half of it's lit from the home plate side around the baselines. But nothing in left center, nothing in left field, nothing in center field, nothing in right center, nothing down the right field line. So it can get a little dicey. We've had enough light issues.
They're fine when they're on.
Chicago, Washington.
Yuri Perez takes a strike. Perez bounced to second base in his first at bat. Well, Beachy had him fishing and came up with nothing.
Yeah, I like that slow curveball from Brandon. I think that's a weapon that he'll use more and more as he starts to get comfortable on the mound. He's thrown a few good changeups tonight. He really does pitch off his fastball. And that's a nice transition from a Brave organization that says they want their pitchers to pitch off fastball and first pitch strike and to pitch away, into the Dodger organization with Rick Honeycutt, as that's a lot of Rick's theory also.
A ball and 2 strikes. After the shaky first inning for Beachy, he has given up just 1 base hit. He's retired the last 7 batters in succession. Now the 1-2. Do it again.
See the pitch count by inning, that rough first inning, the 23 pitches in the home run, but then is slowly settling down. 2 outs here with 2 strikes. You can be somewhere under 20. Get it done right now.
1-2 to Yuri Perez. Drilled into left field for a base hit. And Perez will go to second base. A lot of space in the outfield.
And Andre Ethier did everything he possibly could to cut that ball off and try to keep him to a single. But here's that breaking ball that just doesn't get far down enough. Gets too much of the plate in the middle. Perez does a good job with his timing to wait on it. But Andre Ethier, you see him sliding out there thinking, if I can get this, maybe try to keep him to a single as best he could. Fortunately, like you said, big gaps out there. Easy double.
Now Przinsky, or rather Simmons, is going to get a free pass. And they will face the pitcher, Whistler.
Some of the things we're seeing in the last few games in Washington and here, you get the intentional walk coming back into play. We've seen some bunting by the Dodgers, some small ball. I actually feel like I'm watching the old National League game.
So Simmons with the intentional walk, and Whistler, who popped out in his first at bat.
Well, the infielders will get really deep right here. You got a pitcher running at the plate. You don't want to let the runner on second get in on a ball that squeezes through the infield. So they might bluff him back or just let Brandon Beachy watch him. But this is going to be about knocking it down.
1 ball, no strikes to Matt Whistler. Two balls and no strikes.
.75 pitches. Second start back from rehab of 2 Tommy John surgeries. This heat, he could be hitting a wall. I think he is hitting a wall. You lose your legs, you lose your wind a little bit, you lose your command.
Which is why it was so important that Greinke threw 8 and Kershaw 8 the day before, so that the bullpen is ready.
They backed it down to 85 with some rhythm to throw that strike right here.
The runners go on 3 and 1. It doesn't matter, it's a walk. Now Austin Barnes is going to go out. Buy some time.
Rick Honeycutt won't pop out of the dugout right away. He'll let this meeting break, and then I think he'll be out to stall for the bullpen and to give Brandon Beachy a blow.
It was a heat index of 98 degrees at game time. comparatively frigid compared to yesterday when it was 110 in D.C. Well, here's Honeycutt. He's going to take his time and buy as much time as he can. Adam Lipitor is warming up in the Dodger bullpen. Jace Peterson, left-handed hitter, is due to hit next. So the bases are loaded. This all after 2 out, nobody on. Perez doubled. Simmons intentionally walked. Seemed like a good idea at the time with Whistler, the pitcher, coming up. And he walked Whistler on 5 pitches.
Well, the fact that he's had a visit from his catcher, a visit from his third baseman and shortstop, and now his pitching coach, he might have had enough time to maybe catch his wind and get a little change of rhythm here. Would do the Dodgers good to get out of this with a 0, and I'm sure Brandon Beachy, this would be his last inning and possibly his last hitter.
Perez, Simmons, and Whistler are the runners. Key moment in the game. Fly ball, left field. In is Ethier. It drops in fair. Perez scores and Simmons scores. And the Braves take a 4-0 lead. Jace Peterson, 2 RBIs, 39 on the year, and it was his 17th double.
A double, a couple free passes, and then an outstanding changeup when you've been walking somebody. So they're swinging, looking for a cookie. It starts like a ball down the middle, right on the corner, even off the plate. And it just happens to find some chalk down the line, and that breaks the back of Brandon Beachy.
And that ball was just fair. I mean, it got the edge.
Got the edge of the edge. Beachy has thrown 25 pitches this inning. And now Cameron Maben. 1 for 2. Swings and misses, 0-1.
Don Mattingly wanted to make a move, but they couldn't get somebody hot enough in the bullpen. This inning kind of got away from them in a hurry with that 2-out double and then the intentional walk, and then really threw him a curve with the walk to the pitcher.
No balls, 2 strikes.
You can't blame the staff for thinking, okay, 2-out double, okay, we walk this guy, we get the pitcher out, but you're not in the books. And as far as getting the bullpen hot and ready is not, well, he's going to walk the pitcher. And so that's when the wheels had to start turning.
Markakis on deck. Whistler at third. Peterson at second. Call strike 3, and that'll end the inning. A little too little, a little too late. So the Braves come up with a couple of runs and leave 2 and lead 4-0 as we head to the 5th. Director of Baseball Academy at Campos Los Palmas. Plus, find out how winter ball helped Jock Peterson break into the big leagues. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers this Thursday at 8 o'clock right here on Sportsnet LA. So Matt Whistler now has 4 runs to work with.
The way he's going about it here so far this year, and almost tonight and 2015 are about the same. Just the way he's had such a short career, but he hasn't thrown a lot of those sliders. Changeup's been solid. The curveball's been almost non-existent. But that fastball and the fastball movement, he's done a good job throwing one that's straight, so one that has a little bit more depth to it with a 2-seamer, and one that's even got some tail.
Yeah, when you're being effective and you don't have to throw your breaking ball, why go to it? The fastball has been it. Until the guys have been able to square them up on a consistent basis, keep attacking with the fastball.
9 of the Whistler 12 outs have been of the fly ball variety. And in a ballpark as spacious as this, he's perfectly suited. One ball, one strike to Jimmy Rollins, fly to right in his first at bat. The Dodgers down by 4. You can't second guess what Mattingly did or didn't do in the 4th inning. 2 out, nobody on. Yuri Perez gets a double. Rollins flies short left field, and in foul territory it is Simmons calling off Perez. Perez doubles, so they intentionally walk Simmons, which is the right thing to do. You just don't figure that the pitcher is going to walk the opposing pitcher.
Exactly. And you're already down 2-0, and you're thinking, okay, we're going to get out of this one, but then the inning builds because of the intentional walk and then the walk to the pitcher, and then all of a sudden you do the right thing. You make the delay, you get the bullpen going, and Brandon Beachy does the right thing, throws a nice changeup in the outside corner, but because of the walks, a bloop, it hurts you.
It'll get you to talk to yourself.
You put in a lot of rehab work, and then your first 2 big league outings don't go according to plan. It hurts because you've been dreaming about this and motivating yourself through your whole rehab to get back to where you've always dreamed of playing and where you have already played and had success. And now you come out into a couple outings and you just hit with hurdle after hurdle that you're not able to jump over. It doesn't feel real good, but the guys at this level that have already made it here and been successful, they've been through these walls before. It's just not a lot of fun to exercise that muscle again.
Alex Guerrero on deck. He will bat for Beachy against Matt Whistler. And Austin Barnes, who popped to second base in his first at bat, down 0-2, and Liberatore is getting ready to pitch the bottom of the 5th. 4 runs, 5 hits Atlanta, no runs, 3 hits for the Dodgers. Barnes came over, part of that big trade with the Marlins, and in 65 games at AAA Oklahoma City, .304 with 8 home runs and 38 runs batted in. Maybe the most interesting stat on his line at AAA. Walked 28 times and struck out 26. And had an on-base percentage of .385 at AAA. The other thing that's notable, he stole 10 bases. And he bangs a base hit into left field. So a 1-out single for Barnes here in the 5th. And now Guerrero coming up to pinch hit. One of those 3 pinch hit home runs, probably the biggest home run of the season for the Dodgers. Down to the final strike in Colorado, that grand slam. Batting for Beachy. Talk about a cue ball.
Wow, there was so much spin on that ball. Oh,
that ball had more English on it than the Queen. Ain't nothing you can do about that.
No. Turdoslavich, the look on it he had after this ball. Watch this ball. Okay, go. Whoa, it's going to my right. It just kicked.
It zigged when it should have zagged.
Yeah, it's going to Turdoslavic's left. Then it goes back to his right. He's like, what is going on here?
Looked like a scene out of the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, and Barnes sees the ball first, and he's like, okay, that's right at the. He's also going, that's right at the first baseman. I got to go in hard. There's a possible double play.
And he ends up at third. So the Dodgers catch a break. Let's see what they can do with it. That old cliche, it looks like a line drive in the box score. Nah, not even that one.
Well, Jock Peterson has been going the opposite way for singles and showing us he's using left field. And there's a lot of fastballs away from Whistler. He should be able to get out there over the plate. A.J. Przinsky, knowing that, did a nice job right there calling a fastball up and in. Jock looking like he wanted to go out and go get one.
Sure be good for the Dodgers just to get one here. I mean, just slowly just picking away. You still got a lot of game left where it's just, okay, if we can just try to get one an inning here, get back into this.
Peterson is 0 for 2. He's flied to right and bounced to short. And while he has 20 home runs on the year, he hasn't hit one in the last 39 games. In the dirt, the veteran Przinsky puts the block on.
It's a nice block by Przinsky behind home plate, keeping that ball in front, deadening the ball so it doesn't bounce away too far. Couldn't even advance Guerrero from first.
He is a big guy back there behind the plate, too. He's got a lot to block with.
6'3", 210. In his 15th big league season, came up with the Twins. Grew up on eastern Long Island, out in the neighborhood where Carl Yastrzemski grew up. 2 balls and a strike to Peterson.
That's the pitch I'm thinking Jock's got to eyeball, because he gets that ball on the plate slightly up like that. We've seen Jock take that ball into the left center gap.
Two balls and a strike to Peterson. Dodgers with their first legitimate threat of the night. Now it's 3-1. Dodgers at first and second, 2 out in the 4th inning, but then Puig would bounce out to end that inning. And now first and third with 1 out in the 5th.
Watch this swing.
Watch all his swings.
Watch this swing on this pitch.
Yeah.
Coming home. Barnes is out at the plate. Turdoslavich with the throw. Przinsky with the tag. And we've run out of vowels.
Ground ball to first, comes back. Jock was going 3-1 green light fastball, and he just got out in front of it too quick. Didn't let the ball travel, so he just tops it to first. And this one doesn't have the Queen's English on it. So it's a routine play for them to get the tag at home.
So now first and second and 2 out. Be up to Howie Kendrick. Kendrick has hit well in the clutch all year. He's bounced to short and flied to center. Foul ball.
Howie all over that pitch right there that just hung there on the inner half, and we see him use the right side of the field so much, but that ball was off speed and he was committed to go to right, just got the barrel out.
No balls, 1 strike, 2 out. Top half of the 5th. 0-2.
These are one of those games as a hitter. You go back after the game and you're frustrated. And you're facing Whistler. You're going, okay. All of a sudden you're like, we didn't score. Or I'm 0 for 3. I'm 0 for 4.
Comfortable collar.
Yeah, because Whistler, it's not like you're going, man, he just had overpowering stuff, unbelievable stuff, but he just pitches and gets the outs. You're able to see the pitches too.
0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Adrian Gonzalez is on deck. So if Kendrick gets aboard, Gonzalez comes to the plate as the potential tying run. 4-0 Atlanta. Well hit to center field. Maven's got a long way to go, and he can't get it. It's off the base of the wall. Guerrero scores. Peterson is on his way home. Howie Kendrick with a double to center, knocks in 2. The Dodgers are on the board. It is 4-2 Atlanta.
2 out hits, 2 out RBIs. No Marley to talk about all the time.
They are big. They demoralize the opposing team. They can pick up your team. Howie Kendrick, the veteran, you were talking about it in this at-bat. He looked really good. His timing looked good. He gets a ball he can handle, brings in the hands nicely, and he drives it to center field.
It was a little different approach. Whistler showing that inside to righties is where he likes to come. His natural movement in there. It looked like Howie was expecting the ball in there.
Now Gonzalez takes outside.
He was deciding with 2 outs, I'm not going to just take the base hit. I'm going to open my swing up a little bit.
He brought the hands in nicely and got the barrel out in front to drive that.
So Kendrick knocks in 2, and here is a factoid of some interest after the 1-0 to Gonzalez. Well hit to right. It's on its way. Back at the wall and gone. A 2-run home run for Adrian Gonzalez. And just like that, the Dodgers have tied the score at 4. For Adrian Gonzalez, his 21st home run of the season. Brandon Beachy can exhale.
Top half of this inning, the Dodgers give up 2 with 2 out, nobody on. Now this inning right here, 4 because of this swing.
The adjustments the Dodgers have made against Whistler, their 3rd time around, has been great. It looks like they felt more comfortable in the box, recognizing what he's trying to do with them, looking for the pitch that they know that they could handle. And he's just been able to handle it all game, Justin Turner.
Turner to left, off the base of the wall. Justin Turner is 3 for 3.
Great job here for the Dodgers, obviously, to come in and tie the score being down by 4, but also what it does for Beachy. I mean, just to pick him up, because you know he feels awful. You're coming in, you've just spent all that time rehabbing, your second start after coming back, and then you're starting after just gems from Clayton Kershaw, Zach Greinke, and you're trying to follow suit, and you give up 4, and then they pick him up. Easy to doubt yourself. You have doubt from the rehab, and now you're doubting if you can still do it here in the big league level, and you feel a lot better when your team comes back like this, hitting the ball all around and tie the score.
So Turner is 3 for 3. The home run by Gonzalez, his 21st of the year and his 8th this month. And Brandon Beachy, while his numbers are done, 4 runs and 5 hits in 4 innings. Well, he can no longer lose it. Ethier takes high and outside, 1 ball, no strikes. So Beachy hit the wall in the bottom of the 4th. And Whistler has hit the wall in the top of the 5th. To the right side. Peterson with the play, and that'll end the inning. Adrian Gonzalez, his 8th home run in the month of July, and it was tagged. His 21st of the year. We've got a new game at the halfway mark. Tied at 4. Home run. His 21st of the year. And boy, he has been hot in the month of July. Had a couple of hits and an intentional walk yesterday. Had 3 hits in the game on Saturday, half Friday in Washington, and 2 home runs on the Friday night portion of that day-night single-header. Here's Adam Lipitor. Beachy goes 4 innings, 4 runs, 5 hits. Walked 3, struck out 3, and gave up a home run. Now it's a battle of the bullpens. Here's Markakis leading it off. Markakis with a home run in the first inning, a 2-run shot. His first of the year. Nick Markakis hit 14 home runs last season. And that was his first home run of the year. But he's a guy that gets on base almost every time. He has been on base 147 times this year. Only 3 hitters in the major leagues have been on base more than he has. Guys named Harper, Trout, and McCutchen. And then, of course, naturally you think Markakis. Well, maybe not, but now you do. Two and 0. Line to left. It's a fair ball. And he's on his way to a stand-up double to begin the 5th.
You just said it, Charlie. He gets been getting on base an awful lot, and here he is leading off the inning, especially after the Dodgers coming back and tying it. You're looking for that shutdown inning, and that ball is down and away, and Nick Markakis does a good job staying on that ball. Really does. Puts a great swing on it, drives it the other way for a leadoff double.
That's a swing that Jock Peterson could learn from. That's the kind of swing that they're trying to get Jock to use, and on those tough pitches low and away, being able to stay on that ball and keep 2 hands on the bat and drive it that way.
Now Przinsky. He can still hit and hit in the clutch. 0 for 2. Bounce to short, fly to center. Came up with the Twins, into the Giants, the White Sox, Red Sox, Cardinals. And he says when he's finished playing, fellas, it's getting into our racket.
He's got the personality, and when we see playoff time come, he's on the desk. They're pre and post game.
He's either on the field or on the desk.
Yep.
Bridgehampton, Long Island, way out on the eastern shore. To the right side. Well, gets the job done, advances the runner. Markakis goes to third. And Uribe coming up.
When Juan Uribe had the Dodger uniform on, this was a situation that we'd like to have him come up there. When he was learning how to cut down his swing and was really going after the ball, taking the ball to right field. We can only hope he makes some mistakes right now.
Dodgers bring the infield in with 1 out. Uribe has walked and flied to center. Joey Trdozlovich is on deck. Nicely blocked by Barnes. Uribe is looking down at Bo Porter, the third base coach, for a sign, and Bo Porter was busy looking at his shoes.
Justin Turner picked up his eyes and they were laughing at each other.
On 2-0. Into left field for a base hit past the diving Rollins. Markakis comes in to score, and the Braves regain the lead. It's 5-4.
Bring the infield in, you're wanting to cut down the runner at third, but you bring the infield in, you increase the hitter's average by a good 70 points. And so this ball is normally an out. Because you're in, though, it gets right by Rollins. Now you got to get yourself a double play.
That would not have happened had Przinsky not bounced to the right side to advance. Markakis to third.
I mean, to get that run, everybody did their job for the Braves. You got that leadoff double, and like you said, the bat by Przinsky. That's why he was getting high fives all around when he went in, making that out. And it just boosts your confidence as a hitter when you have your infield in, man on third base, less than 2 outs.
Here's Trdozlovich. So you know Uribe's feeling especially good with that RBI. Trdozlovich grew up in Florida, but majored in communications at Long Beach State. Oh, great, another broadcast. 1-1. They'll call him Joey T on the air, however.
Trdozlovich too hard.
I don't think it's that tough a name when he's in the batter's box or the on deck circle. I wouldn't want to be Charlie when he's rounding the bases.
Yeah, with Przinsky coming home. Yeah, that's a joy. Yeah, terrific. Ran out of vowels. Ooh, some lightning. And not off the bat. Terdozlovich, Joey T flies to left, and there was some serious lightning off out beyond the left field wall. That was, you heard the fans react. Right above the old Delta sign. Two out, and the Braves have the lead. As Yuri Perez, a two-out double for him in the fourth inning would be the undoing for Beachy. But the Dodgers would come up with 4 in the top half of the fifth, and now here's Atlanta with a run in the bottom of the fifth. Atlanta has certainly had its trouble scoring runs of late. They've scored as many tonight as they have in the last 3 games combined. In fact, Atlanta has the fewest home runs in the major leagues, just 89, and the Dodgers have 115, which is the most in the National League. Wake up, Fred. Freddie, of course, had the ominous task of replacing the legend Bobby Cox. But Bobby handpicked Freddie. Said, this is the guy I think should be my guy or my replacement. Talk about an iconic figure in Atlanta, Bobby Cox. And so Freddie is the man who followed the man, and Carlos Tosca, his bench coach, has been with Freddie a long time. And they have been renewed for at least another year. Of course, there's Carlos, once the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays. And they have been friends forever. Here's 2-1. Of course, there's been a management overhaul here in Atlanta. Frank Wren was let go. John Hart came in, working under John Sherholtz, and there was some question, would Freddie and Carlos survive with the new front office? And there really was never a whole lot of doubt, knowing that this was going to be a team in transition, not only this year, but probably next. And they wanted to keep the valuable pieces in place, and that is what they've done. In fact, a couple innings ago, the two Johns walked in, Sherholtz and Hart. You worked for Hart in Texas.
For sure. I've been with John since he signed me when I was a Cleveland Indian, and then was hired when I retired by him in Texas.
Up the middle. Kendrick gets a speedy Perez by a step. The leadoff double by Markakis. Brzezinski got him to third, and through the drawn-in infield, Uribe knocked home the lead run. We'll go to the sixth. presents Friday Night Fireworks. Come on out July 31st. Take your place on the field for a fireworks show featuring music from the 1980s. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. So now the Dodgers down again as Atlanta scores a run in the bottom of the 5th. Puig leads off the 6th and takes a strike. It's 0-1. It'll be Puig and Rollins and Austin Barnes. And a sky-high fly into short right. That's Jace Peterson. There is a little alcove in the first base dugout where Bobby Cox used to spend hours upon hours before a game. He'd be smoking his ever-present cigar, he'd be watching NASCAR, and he would be watching the Weather Channel every day. That was where you could find Bobby Cox. And he would study the Weather Channel forecast because rain inevitably will come to Atlanta. Somewhere in that little alcove down there, somebody watching on the Weather Channel, presumably the head groundskeeper, we just heard some oohs and ahs, there's some lightning off in the distance. We are told that there is some kind of storm on its way.
Great.
We'll let you know when it gets here. No balls and 2 strikes to Jimmy Rollins. And in that little alcove, you could talk to Bobby Cox about anything in life. And that was where he relaxed before a game. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Rollins.
That was before a game when he relaxed. He didn't relax during a game. Boy, he was a wizard. You got guys who know how to manage, and then you got Bobby Cox.
Well, Bobby, I guess, was thrown out of more games than any other manager in history. And somebody's got to lead in some category at some point.
It wasn't always anger related, though. No. A lot of strategic moves being made, delays that he wanted to have, or inspiration he wanted to inject into his team.
Oh, but he was good at it.
Really good at it.
For Whistler, this is his 2nd full count.
When it comes to arguments, I'm a Piniella fan.
Oh, he was good.
I'm an Earl Weaver fan.
Well, Billy Martin.
Well, Billy.
He invented the art.
I think that's where Piniella learned it.
Tommy was pretty darn good.
Tommy was real good. The fun part about Tommy was if it was like the second base umpire, just the long run, watching the run. And then after he ran back, going down the end of the dugout and talking to him while he's out of breath.
So Rollins has been struck out. And here is Austin Barnes, who's 1 for 2. Barnes called up today in 62 games at Oklahoma City. 8 home runs, 38 runs batted in, and hit .304. Whistler retired the Dodgers easily in the first 3 innings, giving up 1 hit. Dodgers got a couple of hits and forced them to throw 22 pitches in the 4th. And then in the 5th, when the Dodgers tied it up with 4, he threw 25 pitches. And so his pitch count now, as you see, is at 90.
Or we were talking about him in his secondary pitches. Well, this inning, he's thrown a lot more off-speed pitches than he has the first 5 innings.
Yeah. He's a loose-wristed pitcher. And he's going to have some development things that he's going to probably work on that's going to get him down more naturally and give him a little bit more break. He throws his best breaking balls and his sharpest breaking balls for balls. So that tells me there's a lot of hand in his pitch, and it's taking it out of the strike zone. When he learns to calm his hand down a little bit, maybe get the ball a little deeper into his hand so it'll take some of that wrist action out, he's going to be able to throw some very sharp breaking balls that are actually in the strike zone.
That'll go out of play.
You have a lot of hand in your delivery, and it's a real good thing, but it can give you a lot of different release points because you've got a lot of wrist action. So there's a lot of places the ball can kind of come out of your hand. So as you cut down on some of that and get just enough, not just too much, you can get the same action with more accuracy.
That's Callaspo on deck. That's a foul ball. Callaspo will bat for Liberatore should Barnes keep the inning alive. That's Joel Peralta with Chuck Krim watching. Barnes is singled and popped to second. 2 out in the top half of the 6th. This will be Whistler's last inning almost certainly. He is due to bat second in the bottom half of the inning. That's Freddie Gonzalez and Carlos Tosca quite naturally right next to him. So if Whistler's night is done, he finishes on a high note, striking out the last 2 batters, Rollins and Barnes, after 5.5. Atlanta 5-4.
As we make our way to the bottom of the 6th inning, a nice honor today for a former longtime Dodger player and a longtime Atlanta Braves broadcaster. I'm speaking of Don Sutton, who was honored today at a luncheon as well as before the game today. He began as a Braves broadcasting for his career in 1989, played 16 Major League Baseball seasons with the Dodgers. Dodger fans remember that, back 1966 to 1980, and then, of course, in 1988, 4-time All-Star, 1998 Baseball Hall of Fame inductee, and now a member of the Atlanta Braves Hall of Fame as well, guys.
So congratulations to Don Sutton, one of the great Dodger pitchers of the Los Angeles era, and here is Joel Peralta making his 17th appearance. We had heard about Peralta in the offseason after the acquisition from the Rays. What a natural leader he was among the young bullpen pitchers, and he certainly has lived up to that. He's one of those guys who seems to be terminally happy.
And he's also locked into baseball. It just comes out of his pores.
Here's Andrelton Simmons with Pedro Ciriaco in the on-deck circle to pinch hit. So Peralta's first pitch is a strike, 0-1. Simmons has singled, been intentionally walked. 5 runs, 7 hits for Atlanta, 4 runs, 8 hits for the Dodgers. And Simmons begins the 6th with a single to center. Now here's Ciriaco. So Whistler goes 6 innings, 4 runs and 8 hits, all 4 runs earned, 2 strikeouts. The last 2 batters he would face, 95 pitches, 60 for strikes, and a 2-run home run given up to Adrian Gonzalez.
I'll tell you, I was impressed by Whistler after the inning before, giving up those 4 runs. Game tied, they come back, get a run, and he comes back out there and has just a shutdown inning. And going out there, he only has, and he gets those 2 strikeouts that last inning.
Got Puig to pop to second, then the 2 strikeouts, and he leaves the game. Can only win it, can't lose it, and here is Ciriaco.
There was a growth inning for Whistler, too, going out there, giving up the 4 spot. And they're in their rebuilding phase. He gets traded from San Diego over here, and they send him back out there for the next inning, and he shows them that he can respond.
Ciriaco is turned 30 and born in the baseball cradle of shortstops, San Pedro de Macorís. Played for Kansas City and the Padres and the Pirates and the Red Sox, and I guess he could fall into the category of a journeyman. Pass Turner into the left field corner. Simmons will hold at third, and Atlanta's in business, second and third, and nobody out.
That was impressive how Pedro said this ball's on the outer half, and he's still able to reach out on the outer half and then still pull it down the line past Justin Turner, because you're thinking, all right, he's not going to be, you give him the line, play off of it, especially if you're pitching him away, and he's still able to find that third base line.
The third base line has not been friendly to the Dodgers. The changeup Beachy threw that gave up the 2-out double down the line was a blooper, and now that ball right there.
Dodgers are going to play the infield back with the exception of Turner at third. And Jace Peterson. It was his double that was inches fair in the 4th inning that drove in 2. Atlanta with a 5-4 lead. Into right field for a base hit. Simmons scores. Ciriaco will be held at third. It's 6-4 as the throw goes over the cutoff man Gonzalez. And now coming home to score is Ciriaco. Some ugly play for the Dodgers defensively, giving up a couple of more runs. It is 7-4 Atlanta.
We're going to have some time to go over this replay here because Atlanta wants to hold to see if that is really an out. This base hit out here to right. Yasiel throwing it in. The ball goes all the way through to home plate. That throw right there might have been ill-advised, even though you get an out.
I think what really started this whole play was the fact that Yasiel missing the cutoff man. Yasiel hits the cutoff man. It doesn't go through, and everybody just stays put. But it goes through, and then Barnes trying to throw the guy out at second base there, and then Rollins gets tied up over that second base, and that allows Ciriaco to score.
Well, Peterson is tagged out as he overslid second base. But the inability by Puig to hit the cutoff man cost the Dodgers a run. And a ground ball to short. After Maben thrown out by Rollins. That's why they invented the cutoff man.
It gives everybody a few less steps and shuts down the even thought of advancing to the next base. And then you put your catcher in a predicament where he's got a borderline throw to make that's really going to unleash the rest of the base runners, especially the guy on third. And that's when it all broke loose because of missing the cutoff man.
Now Markakis with 2 out. He's had a good night. 2-run home run, a double. 2 runs scored. So the Dodgers, who are down 4-0 heading into the top of the 5th, tie it in the 5th, but give up a run to Atlanta in the bottom of the 5th and 2 more here in the bottom of the 6th. So Markakis having quite a night. He's lifted his average to 289. Got a strike.
You mentioned Nick Markakis earlier with all those top hitters with Harper and Trout. He's a grinder too. I mean, this guy is a gamer. He's a leader with just the way he goes about his business.
And he's always been terrific defensively.
You know, the home runs haven't been there this year for him. We talked about 14 last year, 1 year, but you know, he also coming off neck surgery. I wonder if that's maybe be a factor. Some of the power. Has it diminished the rest of his game?
Markakis was born in Woodstock, Georgia. Lives up near Baltimore after his years with the Orioles. And Peralta misses high and away. So the Dodger bullpen tonight, Liberatore shaky, and Peralta has had his issues.
Well, we're having that look, that base hit. This is what we're talking about. We know, okay, the 1 run is going to score easily here. Yasiel trying to make sure they hold him at third, but you got to hit the cutoff man. A hard throw to the cutoff man definitely keeps him there, but also keeps that runner at first base as well. And they're able to get that out there, but it just allows Siriaco to score.
Yeah, Peterson was actually stopping until he saw the ball going over Gonzalez's head.
Now Przinsky fouls it back. AJ is 0 for 3. He's bounced to short, bounced to second, and flied to center. The Braves scored a total of 5 runs in their last 3 games. Tonight, 7 runs and 10 hits. Off Beachy, Liberatore, and now Peralta.
Game like this is where you're glad that Clayton Kershaw and Zach Greinke went before and rested the bullpen, both of them going 8 innings. It was the theory coming into the second half of breaking those 2 up and also breaking up the 4 and the 5 hole in the rotation. If you get 3 days in a row like this, all of a sudden you see how that's really going to tax your bullpen. So splitting up the 2 aces and putting their 8 spots or 7 spots as far as innings eaten a little bit more spread out protects your bullpen.
Uribe on deck. Couple of runs in here in the 6th. Braves 7-4. Kendrick has it, and that does it. 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 left. We'll go to the 7th. Atlanta 7, Dodgers 4. by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. And by Jack in the Box. Taste the new black pepper cheeseburger today, only at Jack in the Box. So we go to the 7th inning, and the newest Brave, wearing number 51, is Jason Frazier. 51 is notable because he is the 51st different player the Braves have used this season, and the 25th different guy to pitch out of the bullpen. Hard throwing right-hander. The Royals let him go. And he signed 3 days ago. He can get up there in a hurry. The question has been his control and consistency. And here's Callaspo to pinch hit for Peralta. So the Dodgers down 3. They trail at 1.4-0. But then the Braves with a run in the 5th and 2 in the bottom of the 6th. Lead by 3. Jock Peterson on deck and Howie Kendrick to follow. One ball and 1 strike.
1 inning, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 1 walk.
There's Jock and Kendrick after that. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Alberto Callaspo. He, of course, came from the Braves in the deal that sent Juan Uribe from the Dodgers to Atlanta. And Callaspo is wearing Uribe's old number, 5. Into left, Perez. So Frazier retires, the first batter here in the 7th inning.
With the rebuilding effort here in Atlanta, you can play kind of player roulette as you go through all these different roster spots. The injuries have forced some, and then also just the remake of the organization allows you to grab and find as many players as you think that might have a chance.
Of course, the Braves were without probably their best hitter, Freddie Freeman. He's been out a month. Bad left wrist. A little more lightning, getting some reaction from the fans. Hey, remember in the beginning, actually in the offseason, everybody was expecting this is going to be an awful year for the Braves. Then they go out and have the nerve to win the first 5 games, and with the magic number at 157. Suddenly reality started to kick in. There's Roger McDowell, Freddie Gonzalez. And this by and large is well hit to left field. Perez going back, and against the wall he makes the catch. Yuri Perez.
Jock Peterson is going to get some encouragement when he gets back to the bench from his fellow hitters like an Adrian Gonzalez, who knows how to go to the opposite field, especially from Mark McGwire and John Valentin, because this is what they've been working on, getting him to stay on the ball and drive it to the opposite field. He doesn't come up with a hit right here, but he's going to get a pat on the back because what he's working on is starting to show up.
Well, we noticed it in Washington. His very first at-bat after the All-Star break, he singled to left.
Yeah, and I like that single that you're talking about there, Charlie, because it was with 2 strikes. It looked like he just shortened up and went the other way. It wasn't that big swing we always see from him, but they're recognizing that even with a big swing, but as long as I'm staying on the ball and going the other way, he can really just become a more dimensional hitter and a complete hitter using all fields.
Well, you saw the flags blowing.
And that wind knocked down Jock's ball also, because the storm coming in, it went into like a 30-mile-an-hour wind.
Earlier in the game, that was probably going out.
Yep. And that was even more frustrating, to do all the right things and not get the results.
As if we haven't had enough delays of varying sizes, shapes, and reasons this year. Well, at least the rain came with warning in advance. We have nothing to kick about compared to what was going on back home the last 24, 48 hours.
Let it rain back home. Let it rain.
Till the Dodgers return next Tuesday.
Then it can stop.
It can rain in the morning.
Peterson. And that does it. Dodgers go quietly in the seventh inning stretch. Rain's beginning to come down. The storm is moving in. And the Braves lead 7-4. With John Hirschbeck. Well, we got this bad weather coming in, and these guys, their job is to sit there in the rain and wait till they're called upon to cover the field. They've been down this path before. This time of year, pretty near every night. So we're going to play on, at least for the time being. Ed Mangan, don't shoot the messenger. Here's Juan Nicasio making his 30th appearance. And Nicasio showing off the blue socks for the first time this year, making a fashion statement. Either that or his pants shrunk in the rain.
I'll tell you, if I wasn't pitching well or I had a rough outing, I would do something different too. A lot of times I just emptied out all the underwear and t-shirt out of my locker and just started fresh.
So it's about time.
Change things up.
Change it up. High socks, low socks.
Juan Uribe. First pitch, fouls it off to the right, 0-1.
There are times you do that individually, and then there are times you're like, hey, listen, as a team, you do it. Like, we got to change things up, guys. What do you guys? Let's go high socks. Let's do something.
Elastic belts, leather belts.
Yeah, that's a ticket. Change the belts.
Yep. Anything just to get a fresh look. Say, okay, this is my new. I'm starting from ground zero.
Let's try the Sansa belt.
Oh boy, I'm thinking about the stuff that I did to change things up. Oh my goodness!
I got a baseball card of me laying sod in Pittsburgh because we couldn't win on AstroTurf. So I had the Dodger ground crew cut out some of the sod in the outfield, and we took the sod on the road with us. We were called the Sod Squad, and we had the guys. I put sod on the benches on the road when we played on AstroTurf, and the guys would put their gloves on it. We'd spit our sunflowers into the grass, and it just made us feel a little bit more at home. We started winning on the road on the AstroTurf. Hey, we're psycho as ball players.
I know. I'm chuckling because I like that, and I could see it working.
You're as crazy as I am.
I am.
Just to change the mindset of the guys, get them to relax, whatever, you know.
There were times where when I was just feeling awful at the plate, I'd just go in and I'd just jump in the shower with the uniform because this one just needs to be clean. Like just
and then go play in it?
No, I wouldn't go play after the game. After a game, just a tough. I'm like, I need to just shower in the uniform, whatever, clean all the stuff out of it, and then we'll get them tomorrow.
What did Mia think when you came home in a wet uniform?
Oh, well, I took it off there and left it at the field now.
Oh. I'm too young to hear about that stuff. Krdoslovic is the hitter. He's taken over at first base with Freddie Freeman on the DL for about a month now. And he finds some room up the third base line into the corner, and he will arrive at second base with a double.
Getting tired of that third base line.
I was thinking that same thing. What are they going to do tomorrow with that? Do they erase it or something just to change things up?
Killing us.
Yeah.
Used the whole field. We've had a left-handed hitter bloop one down the left field line. We've had a left-handed hitter right there hit a double with a ground ball down the left field line, and we had a right-handed hitter take a split finger off the plate away and pull it down the left field line.
And they've got 7 runs and 11 hits. Dodgers 4 runs and 8 hits. As the rain is falling steadily. Yuri Perez steps in, and he's got a double. Where? The left. He's also bounced to second twice. 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. Dodgers, since the beginning of last season, had beaten the Braves 8 out of 10. But to this point, Mattingly's boys are getting their comeuppance. One ball, 1 strike. Beachy went 4 innings, 4 runs and 5 hits. Libator an inning, 1 run and 2 hits. Peralta an inning, 2 runs and 3 hits. He went around.
Nice pitch right there. Ball looks like a fastball right on the corner. Little slide piece. Late and tight.
One ball, 2 strikes. 1 out in the 7th. Tomorrow night, Brett Anderson and Alex Wood. Wednesday, a matinee. Will be on the air back in Los Angeles at 9 o'clock in the morning. Bolsinger and Julio Teheran. And after that, the Dodgers fly north to New York for a 4-game series with the Mets. And will return next Sunday night. Off a week from tonight, and then a 2-game series with the A's next Tuesday and Wednesday at Dodger Stadium. Now the 2-2. Kendrick on the second hop. Krdoslovic goes to third as Perez advances the runner. Well, let's have a look ahead at the Dodger calendar presented by 76. Told you about the games with the Braves tomorrow and Wednesday, and then the 4-game series with the Mets. Night games in New York, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, day game on Sunday, and then back to Los Angeles. The Dodger calendar brought to you by 76. Andrelton Simmons with 2 out. Takes a strike, 0-1. Should Simmons keep the inning alive, Chris Johnson is in the on-deck circle to pinch hit. There's still some hale and hearty souls sitting in the rain, but most of the crowd underneath the overhangs. They're used to this rain thing here. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Simmons tonight has 2 hits, was intentionally walked, and he scored a couple of runs. Dodgers have never led in this game. They managed to tie it at 4 with 4 runs in the 5th. Well, when you talk about the elite defensive shortstops in the game, Simmons is on that short list.
Yeah, he's fun to watch, Charlie. Just his range, his hands, his arm.
Well, you got Escobar in Kansas City, Iglesias in Detroit. This kid here.
See, the one that we saw him over in Miami, Echeverria.
Oh, Echeverria, yeah. On 1 and 2. Oh, and outside. And the new kid down in Houston. Woof. He's 20. How about all the young players at the All-Star game this year? Wide of third. Turner better hurry up. And he gets Simmons by a step. And that keeps Atlanta from scoring another run. Terrific play by Justin Turner. Simmons is out. So are the Braves. And we'll go to the 8th. That saved a run. This is his first game back. He spent the last 80 games in the penalty box for putting stuff into his system he shouldn't have. So this is his 4th appearance. The Arco top tier play of the game for the Dodgers. It was a long distance home run by Adrian Gonzalez in the 5th inning. That would tie the score at 4. But then in the bottom half of the 5th inning, Atlanta would score 1, then 2 more in the 6th, and so the Dodgers have some work to do. Boy, since coming to the Dodgers and that big deal with the Red Sox, more RBIs than anybody else. 2 from 300. So Andrew McKirahan. Missing outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Two balls and no strikes.
You know, Charlie, you're talking about all the young players coming into the game. In my generation, I really wasn't exposed to weight training in baseball until I got to the big leagues. And now kids are getting into weight training and strength training, you know, 13, 14 years old. And so the younger players are actually strong enough to get here now. Where before you had to develop physically, get naturally strong instead of being able to actually get in the weight room and gain strength from working out at a younger age. And Nomar, your generation started lifting earlier than my generation. And now this generation's even starting earlier.
Before that, yeah. And there's the science behind it, too, has evolved as well. I mean, just where they're able to not only work out, but knowing the optimal time to work out, knowing what to eat, the way you sleep, all of that is being broken down now.
Yep. I mean, it was considered, you know, muscles in baseball were considered something that was going to make you slow and you'd lose your bat speed, and something that you'd lose your arm speed, and you don't want to get bulked up. And the Dodgers were very progressive on the edge of that, especially when the generation of Steve Sachs and then Mike Piazza and Eric Karros and those guys, you know, they were going off to Gould's gyms to work out because we didn't have a weight room. You know, then the first thing that came into baseball was the free weights, as far as the small little weights. You know, you weren't allowed to lift anything over 10 pounds, you know.
Right.
And then it was the Nautilus machines, because if we're going to lift the heavier weights, we're going to make sure it's controlled and you don't hurt yourself. And so everything was on a cam system. And then finally the chaotic, oh my gosh, you can lift free weights.
Three and two to Gonzalez, beginning the 8th. The Dodgers trail 7-4. The first team that I can remember that started doing weights as part of the regimen and routine, the Pirates in the late 70s. And Adrian Gonzalez breaks a bat for the cause, a leadoff single here in the 8th. That was the We Are Family group and Phil Garner and those guys.
Yeah, it was in certain organizations. And then Oakland, you know, was really into the epicenter of weight training. And then Boston was getting close as far as physical therapists. Boston and L.A. Pat Screener, the therapist for the Los Angeles Dodgers. There weren't physical therapists in the locker room. Now
you have physical therapists, massage therapists,
chiropractors.
And what a night for Justin Turner. He is 4 for 4. And so now all of a sudden the Dodgers have the tying run coming to the plate, and Andre Ethier. Ethier being called back. And Scott Van Slyke's going to pinch hit for him. So Turner a 4 for 4 night.
Number 33, Scott Van Slyke, pitch hitting for the Dodgers.
Here's tonight's attendance, 24,072, 24072.
And Freddie Gonzalez has seen about enough. So McCurahan is done. And Arodys Vizcaino is warming up. And he will face Van Slyke on this rainy night in Georgia. Strong fan for a chance to be shown in an upcoming telecast brought to you by T-Mobile. Vizcaino's 7th appearance. 5 innings, 5 strikeouts, and 2 walks. And Van Slyke, it's been 9 days since he's had an at-bat. So as soon as he was announced, Gonzalez took McCurahan out and brought Vizcaino in. Van Slyke, the tying run at the plate. Takes inside, 1 ball and no strikes. It's been raining steadily for the last half hour or so. Grounded to third, and through Uribe into left field. Rounding third, heading for home is Gonzalez, and he is out at the plate. Yuri Perez with a perfect throw.
Every step Adrian Gonzalez took, he got more and more mud on his cleats. By the time he got home, he was carrying some dirt with him, and every step was slower. Lorenzo Bundy might have been a little bit more prudent to hold him up with no outs, but here this throw is what makes the action wrong for the Dodgers.
That was a risk and reward, and
that was one where you're going, okay, you're down by 3 and nobody else to see, okay, do we really need to send them there, or do we just hold them up and try to get that big inning, especially this late in the ball game? Yeah.
And there was a bat right in the way of Gonzalez's path to the plate. And that one is popped up in the short left. There's Perez.
What's interesting is here you got Yasiel with his bat, and then you got that bat in the way here for Adrian Gonzalez. What you're supposed to do on deck is if you can go get that bat, you've got to run and get that out of the way for Adrian. First you toss your bat out of the way, then you try to get those and get into position to let Adrian know whether he needs to slide or not and where to slide, whether it's on the outer half of home plate, on the inner half.
At the amateur level, you'll even get an umpire that'll hustle there and get it out of the way, but at the big league level, you don't get that kind of help.
Well, again, down by 3. You're working a run at a time. There really was no need, frankly, to send Gonzalez home. And again, Adrian is not the fastest runner on this team by any stretch.
Yeah, if Lorenzo had to do it over again, I'm sure he would tell you he wouldn't want to send him, not only with the results, but just looking at the risk-reward equation.
If he stays put, bases loaded, nobody out. And a wild pitch, and the runners will advance.
And Lorenzo has had an outstanding year at third base. That's probably the only time that we've even mentioned his name or even thought. So
only time. I'm thinking that's the only time.
You know, Gonzo's there, and wet, muddy cleats.
Bat in the way.
And when he slides, he's going to stick. He's not going to get it that much speed. Even Justin Turner, Lorenzo talking about Justin Turner, patted him on the back right there, like, you know what, you're human, you're part of the team, we're with you.
Yeah, you can see Lorenzo's just he's
going to be beside himself. Right. He's a great guy and a great third base coach, and that's what makes him a great third base coach, because he cares and he's going to think about it and grind on it. That's not going to happen again for a long, long time.
Second and third, 2 out. Rollins.
A fielder makes an error behind you as a starting pitcher or as a reliever. You try and pick him up, get the next guy out. Well, Jimmy Rollins right here can do a lot for Lorenzo Bundy.
Into right, and Markakis is there. An inning of great expectations. Best of times and worst of times. Bottom of the 8th, 7-4 Atlanta. Scott Van Slyke takes over in left field as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Dodgers have had their chances tonight, and a frustrating top half of the 8th inning. First 3 batters with hits, and they come up empty. Nicasio to pitch his second inning of relief. And Chris Johnson is pinch hitting. 243 on the year. And the top of the order, Jace Peterson and Cameron Maybin. The Dodgers came into the game having won 7 of their last 10, and the Braves came into the game having lost 7 of their last 10. Dodgers came into the game a season high 13 games over 500, a 3.5 game lead on the Giants. We'll be playing in San Diego in about 15 minutes. Zach Greinke and, of course, Clayton Kershaw sharing National League Player of the Week honors this week. Johnson takes outside.
It's going to be a real fun October if those two guys can pitch like that.
16 innings combined, no runs, 6 hits, 25 strikeouts, and a walk. And a grand total of 1 runner they allowed in scoring position. Johnson down on strikes, first out of the inning.
Just ridiculous the way they're throwing the ball right now. Just Clayton has found it for about the last 10 starts, and Zach has had it all year. Just the only reason he doesn't have more wins is because of the run support. The run support he needs right now is just 1 tally.
Jace Peterson. No balls, 2 strikes, and 1 out, and Nicasio delivers high and away. Talk about Greinke and Kershaw. Here's the 1-2. In their last 4 starts each, they are combined 6-1 and a .29 ERA. Opponents are hitting 162 against them. They have combined to strike out 72 and walk 4.
Very few tandems in the history of the game have put those kind of numbers together for what would be considered a short amount of time.
Kendrick throws out Peterson. There's 2 out.
There's a couple of guys that did something like that.
No. And they will be reunited this weekend in Cooperstown as the third amigo.
Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling.
John Smoltz. There's Tommy. And there they are.
Thinking of other dynamic duos that could put stuff like that. Drysdale Koufax, of course.
By the way, our friends at StatSync, I asked them a question today. They came up with a wonderful answer. If Greinke should happen to tie you and your 59 consecutive shutout innings, his earned run average would be 1.16.
Wow.
Which is still short of what Bob Gibson had at 68 for the entire year. 1.12.
They can't lower the mound or anything. It's low enough.
And it's hard to lower that ERA. And down the stretch they come.
Let's hope they both go by me. That would be great. we'd have a lot of happy guys and happy fans, and we'd have a team on a roll. And it would pad us, getting us ready for hopefully an October berth. Nomar, we've had our day. Let's have somebody else have their day.
If they did that, that would be incredible.
It'd be great.
Oh, it would be.
We'd have a lot of fun broadcasting it.
Did not go around, so Maven stays around for another pitch.
And Clayton's on his own run. And July is his best month of his career, winningest month of his career.
Into left, put right advance slide. That'll do it in the 8th. Nothing across for Atlanta. Austin Barnes will lead it off for the Dodgers in the 9th. And a pinch hitter, and Jock Peterson. HD on over 400 mobile devices and connected devices with MLB.TV Premium. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Jim Johnson on to finish it off for Atlanta. Of course, Grilly is done for the year, snapping an Achilles. Johnson could be interesting trade bait. This is his 46th appearance in his day. In his best days, a closer in Baltimore.
Sinker ball specialist. Make him get the ball up.
Here's Austin Barnes. Arrived here just in the nick of time. A.J. Ellis, if you're just joining us, hadn't heard. Placed on the disabled list prior to the game today. Sounds like more than anything else, he bruised his knee attempting to go after a bunt foul off to the left in foul territory yesterday. He stiffened up on the airplane. Got worse this morning. Got looked at this afternoon, and thankfully no structural damage. So as a result, Yasmani Grandal in the on-deck circle to pinch hit here in the 9th. But first, young Mr. Barnes rounds it foul up the third baseline. Barnes 1 for 3. Barnes was having a solid year at AAA Oklahoma City. He was part of that big deal from the Marlins.
He's got a live body. Catchers usually start to slow down a little bit after the years back there. I know he hasn't been up here, but he's been playing baseball for a long time. He's quite an athlete.
Has 10 stolen bases down at AAA.
Well, he was a second baseman.
Yeah.
Then moved to catcher. So
he's got a little Russell Martin in him. A little Craig Biggio.
That middle infield.
Middle infielder coming back behind the plate.
Yep.
How about Biggio? Catcher, second baseman, center fielder.
Early in his career, they couldn't find a position for him.
Well, he ended up.
He ended up, in the Hall of Fame, but he was rough around the edges defensively for a while, but he could always hit.
Well, you talk about being strong up the middle. As it turned out, he certainly was, and played on that great Seton Hall team that featured Mo Vaughn, Craig Biggio, and John Valentin. Beige. Barnes on 2-2. Works the count full. So the veteran Jim Johnson taking over the closing duties with Grilly on the shelf. And Barnes has had a very nice night. 2 for 4. Down in the count, works it full, and bangs a single to right.
A lot of top hand in this swing right here to get on top of this pitch.
Here's Grandal, who took one on the chin. Came out of the game, the Dodgers and Grandal lucky. No fractures, no concussion, but he took one on the chin. They were fearful that might have broken a jaw.
That's the weakest part of your face and the weakest part of the mask down there.
And I think it's really encouraging that he's at least able to come in here and pinch hit today.
Let's not forget, he was on that 7-day concussion DL earlier in the season. The 1-1. Having the best year of his career by far, his first All-Star appearance. And when Alana was talking to A.J. Ellis earlier in the game, it was above and beyond A.J. giving an update on his own condition. Just speaking with such reverence of the play that Grandal has displayed this year. That's not the easiest thing to do when somebody has essentially taken your job.
AJ gets it. He can step back and look at the whole situation and understand where he fits.
And Grandal finds a hole, and the Dodgers are alive. First and second, and nobody out. A lot more on Yasmani Grandal.
Well, Charlie, when I talked to him earlier today about 2:30 in the afternoon, he said he was still on a liquid, no-chew diet. They had him on anti-inflammatories, and he was also on a mixture of pain medication. When Don Mattingly spoke to the media earlier today, he said he'd really hoped to not have to use him today, but obviously was listed as a reserve with A.J. Ellis going on the disabled list. You were just talking about the reverence in which A.J. Ellis spoke of Grandal. The feeling is mutual. He said, I could never have asked for a better teammate. Knowing I was coming in to possibly take his job, he's been nothing but an ultimate pro.
How about that? Here's Jock Peterson, and he's the tying run at the plate. It's been 39 games since Peterson last hit a home run. Hitting .227 at the moment. If he hits one out here, we've got a tie game. 1 ball, no strikes. Kendrick and Gonzalez are next. You just never know about the mix in a clubhouse when one guy moves in and another guy's taking the other guy's job. But really, from day one, you never heard of Pete. Kudos to both fellas. Ground ball into right field for a base hit. Barnes will be held this time by Lorenzo Bundy, and now the Dodgers have the bases loaded and nobody out.
Well, we know Lorenzo Bundy definitely, that last inning, messed up sending Adrian Gonzalez.
That stop sign
he was
up.
like, we're coming up now.
So now These are the guys the Dodgers want to have coming up with the bases loaded and nobody out in the ninth. Kendrick, who's 1 for 4. Gonzalez has singled and hit a 2-run home run. And Justin Turner is 4 for 4. Oh, this is their shot. Kendrick tonight, a double. Knocked in 2. 1 for 4. Johnson delivers. Kendrick with a ground ball to short. 6, 4, and 3. Run scores 7-5. But now the Dodgers are down to their final out.
He got a ball up, and he got a ball he'd like to have back. He just hit the top of it. This was not an outstanding sinker that was like really biting, and it wasn't down by the knees. He got the pitch. He was keyholing him. He just rolled over it.
So now the Dodgers are down to their final out. And here's Gonzalez, who smacked his 21st home run of the season back in the 4th. Taking inside. If Gonzalez is able to keep the inning and the game alive, Justin Turner, who is 4 for 4 tonight, is on deck. (7-5), 2 out, 9th inning. This should do it. And it does. So the Dodgers load the bases in the 9th. Come up a couple of runs short. So the Braves win it 7-5. 7 runs, 11 hits, no errors. They left 7. Dodgers 5 runs, 14 hits, no errors. They too left 7. The Lexus player of the game, Jace Peterson. By inches, a double. He would knock in 3 on the